Learning from courageous people. Ladies and gentlemen, today, we explore a quality that has shaped civilizations, changed the course of history, and transformed the lives of individuals: courage. Courage is not merely a heroic attribute, it is the foundation of human growth and fulfillment. At its core, courage is the capacity to face fear and uncertainty without retreating into complacency. Fear is inevitably it is a part of our biology, a signal that warns us of potential danger. But it's what we do in response to fear that defines our character. When we confront our fears, rather than flee from them, we find the strength to overcome the obstacles that would otherwise imprison us. Courageous people don't emerge by accident. They are individuals who have accepted responsibility, and not just for their own lives but for the world around them. Responsibility is the antidote to chaos. It gives life meaning. To shoulder responsibility requires courage because it means embracing the unknown, stepping into discomfort, and risking failure. We often look to role models to guide us, and there is profound wisdom in this. Throughout history, individuals who have displayed courage in the face of overwhelming adversity have left behind a legacy that inspires us all. Think of those who have stood up against injustice, those who have spoken the truth even when it came at great personal cost. Their lives teach us a vital lesson: courage is not the absence of fear but the mastery of it. At the heart of courage is an unwavering commitment to truth. Truth is often uncomfortable and inconvenient, but it is necessary. It demands that we see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. Speaking the truth requires courage because it may provoke resistance, even hostility. But truth liberates. It aligns us with principles higher than ourselves, principles that give our lives depth and direction. Finally, courage is not something reserved for extraordinary moments. It is a skill to be cultivated daily. When you choose to stand up for what is right, when you face challenges with determination, when you make the hard decision rather than the easy one, you are practicing courage. Each of these small acts strengthens you, preparing you for the greater battles life will inevitably present. In learning from courageous people, we are reminded that fear is not our enemy, it is our teacher. And courage, born of responsibility and truth, is the force that allows us to rise above fear and reach for something greater. So, take responsibility. Face your fears. Speak the truth. And cultivate courage, one decision at a time. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life but inspire others to do the same. Thank you. Fear is an inevitable and universal human experience. It serves an essential purpose, alerting us to potential threats and dangers. However, the way we respond to fear determines whether it becomes a barrier or a stepping stone. Acting despite fear is the hallmark of growth and transformation. Fear often signals that we are standing on the edge of our comfort zone, the threshold where growth begins. To avoid fear is to avoid the very opportunities that lead to progress and self-improvement. Those who face their fears demonstrate a profound understanding of its nature. Fear, when confronted, loses much of its power. The anticipation of a challenge is often more intimidating than the challenge itself. By stepping into the discomfort, individuals discover that they are more capable and resilient than they initially believed. This confrontation fosters confidence, which becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. The more you face your fears, the more you trust in your ability to overcome them. Facing fear is also an exercise in humility and courage. It requires admitting vulnerability, acknowledging the possibility of failure, and choosing to act anyway. This willingness to embrace vulnerability is a critical aspect of personal development. It teaches us to value progress over perfection and effort over immediate success. Growth, after all, is not a linear path but a dynamic process of trial, error, and learning. Each time we act despite fear, we strengthen our capacity for resilience, adaptability, and perseverance. Fear often masks the very things we value most. We fear failure because we value success. We fear rejection because we value connection. By confronting fear, we gain clarity about our priorities and purpose. This clarity allows us to align our actions with our values, leading to a deeper sense of fulfillment and meaning in life. In this way, Fear is not an obstacle to avoid but a guidepost pointing toward what truly matters, is one of the most transformative forces in a person's life. It is the act of willingly accepting the burden of obligations, challenges, and the potential consequences of one's choices. Courageous individuals recognize that responsibility is not merely a duty but a profound opportunity to bring order and meaning into their lives. It is through taking responsibility that people move from being passive observers of life to active participants who shape their own destinies. Often begins with the recognition that life is inherently unpredictable and, at times, chaotic. To accept responsibility is to acknowledge this chaos and to commit to bringing structure to it. This requires courage because it means confronting the unknown, dealing with uncertainty, and facing challenges head-on. People who embrace responsibility do not wait for external forces to improve their circumstances. Instead, they take ownership of their actions, their environment, and their impact on others. Accepting responsibility also involves making sacrifices. It means prioritizing long-term goals over immediate gratification and choosing discipline over comfort. This can be difficult, as the weight of responsibility often feels overwhelming. However, it is within this struggle that individuals discover their resilience and capacity for growth. Responsibility fosters strength, not because it makes life easier but because it forces people to rise to meet the demands placed upon them. It is a process that transforms adversity into achievement and struggle into meaning. Responsibility extends beyond the individual to include others. Courageous people recognize that their actions ripple outward, influencing family, friends, communities, and even society as a whole. By taking responsibility, they become pillars of stability and leadership. They set an example for others, demonstrating that the willingness to shoulder responsibility is not a burden to be avoided but a privilege to be embraced. At its core, responsibility is a force that provides life with purpose. It aligns actions with values, transforms chaos into order, and fosters a sense of accomplishment. It is not about perfection but about striving to do what is right, even when it is difficult. Those who accept responsibility discover that it is not a limitation but a source of liberation, allowing them to take control of their lives and contribute meaningfully to the world around them. Role models of courage provide us with living examples of resilience, determination, and integrity. Their stories and actions serve as blueprints for navigating adversity, showing us how to rise above fear and embrace challenges. These individuals are not necessarily defined by their circumstances but by their responses to them. They demonstrate that courage is a choice made repeatedly, even in the face of overwhelming odds, and that it is through these choices that one's character is forged. The impact of courageous role models extends far beyond their immediate actions. Their lives become powerful narratives that inspire and educate others. When we observe someone standing firm against injustice, speaking the truth in the face of opposition, or persevering through hardship, we are reminded of the potential within ourselves to do the same. Role models provide not only inspiration but also practical lessons. Their stories reveal the principles and values that guided them, values like integrity, perseverance, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. One of the most profound aspects of learning from courageous people is understanding that they, too, experience fear, doubt, and failure. They are not immune to the struggles that we face, they simply refuse to be defined by them. This realization makes their courage relatable and attainable. It teaches us that bravery does not require the absence of fear but the willingness to act in spite of it. By observing their journey, we see that courage is not a trait reserved for the extraordinary but a quality cultivated through practice and persistence. Role models of courage also play a vital role in shaping societal values and expectations. They challenge norms, push boundaries, and redefine what is possible. From historical figures who fought for civil rights to everyday individuals who display quiet acts of bravery, these people leave a legacy that transcends their time and place. Their actions ripple outward, inspiring change and encouraging others to confront their own challenges with greater resolve. In essence, The influence of courageous role models lies in their ability to illuminate a path forward. They remind us that courage is not a singular, monumental act but a series of decisions made in alignment with one's values and principles. By learning from their experiences, we gain not only inspiration but also the tools to navigate our own journeys with greater strength and purpose. Truth is the bedrock of courage. To live courageously is to commit to truth, even when it is difficult, uncomfortable, or unpopular. Truth requires us to confront reality as it is, rather than as we wish it to be, and this confrontation demands bravery. The act of facing truth, whether it pertains to ourselves, our relationships, or the world around us, often exposes vulnerabilities and challenges assumptions. Yet, it is only by embracing truth that we can grow, adapt, and live authentically. Courageous individuals understand that truth is not merely a philosophical concept but a practical guide for decision-making and action. Speaking the truth often involves risk. It can provoke resistance, conflict, or even rejection. However, choosing to be truthful rather than succumbing to lies or denial is an act of integrity. It aligns us with higher principles, fostering trust, respect, and credibility in our interactions with others. Courageous people are willing to bear the consequences of truth because they recognize its transformative power. Living truthfully also requires self-awareness. It means being honest about our strengths, weaknesses, and motivations. This level of introspection can be daunting, as it forces us to confront aspects of ourselves that we might prefer to ignore. Yet, this internal honesty is essential for personal growth. When we accept the truth about who we are, we gain clarity and direction, enabling us to make better decisions and live in alignment with our values. The pursuit of truth extends beyond personal introspection to include broader societal and moral dimensions. Speaking out against injustice, questioning harmful norms, and challenging falsehoods in public discourse are acts of courage grounded in a commitment to truth. These actions often come at a cost to social disapproval, professional risks, or personal sacrifices, but they are necessary for creating a just and equitable society. Courageous individuals understand that progress is impossible without a foundation of truth, and they are willing to stand up for it, even when it is inconvenient or dangerous. Truth is inseparable from courage because it demands authenticity, responsibility, and accountability. To act in alignment with truth is to embrace the discomfort of facing reality while rejecting the temporary solace of denial or falsehood. It is through this commitment to truth that individuals find purpose, relationships gain depth, and societies achieve progress. In this way, truth becomes not only a moral imperative but also a source of strength and liberation for those brave enough to embrace it. Courage is not an innate quality but a skill that can be developed through intentional practice. It is built incrementally, beginning with small, everyday acts that prepare individuals for greater challenges. Each time we make a choice to confront fear, discomfort, or uncertainty, we strengthen our capacity for courage. These small victories are like stepping stones, leading to greater resilience and a more confident approach to life's larger trials. One of the simplest ways to cultivate courage is by embracing opportunities to step outside of our comfort zones. This might mean engaging in difficult conversations, trying something new, or taking responsibility for a mistake. While these actions may seem minor, they involve an element of risk and require us to confront our fears of failure, judgment, or rejection. Over time, consistently facing these smaller fears builds the mental and emotional muscles necessary for handling more significant challenges. Another critical aspect of developing courage is learning to tolerate vulnerability. Courage often requires exposing oneself to the possibility of criticism, failure, or loss. This vulnerability is not a weakness but a sign of strength, though it demonstrates a willingness to face the risks inherent in striving for something meaningful. Whether it's expressing a deeply held belief, pursuing an ambitious goal, or admitting when we are wrong, acts of vulnerability pave the way for personal growth and deeper connections with others. Practicing courage also involves a mindset shift. Instead of viewing fear as an obstacle, we can reframe it as a sign of potential growth. Fear often points to areas where we have something valuable to gain, whether it's a skill, an experience, or a deeper understanding of ourselves. By approaching fear with curiosity rather than avoidance, we can learn to see it as an ally in our journey towards self-improvement. Is another important component of cultivating courage. Courageous people understand that setbacks are inevitable and view them as opportunities to learn and grow. They develop a habit of perseverance, refusing to give up even when faced with adversity. This resilience is not about avoiding pain or failure but about bouncing back stronger and more determined. Each experience of overcoming difficulty reinforces the belief in one's ability to face future challenges. Cultivating courage is a lifelong process. It requires daily decisions to choose growth over stagnation, truth over comfort, and action over hesitation. These choices, though small, accumulate over time, shaping individuals into people capable of facing even the most daunting of challenges. By practicing courage consistently, we not only improve our own lives but also inspire those around us to do the same.